Welcome to the Prop Market. I'm your host, the Prop King, and today I have my 2025 NFL Week 1 player props and best bets. So I have seven player props. That's right, seven player props for you today, along with one best bet. I will be your tour guide throughout this NFL football season, giving you player props and best bets throughout the year. So if you're a fan of NFL player props, if you're a fan of NFL content, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I will have picks for you all year long. I also have college football picks already up on the channel. We are already 2-0 on our college football picks for this week 1 in the college football season. So go check out that video as well. I have season long player props and season bet totals for the NFL. So go check that out as well on the channel. So much information. Like I said, go ahead and subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing, but it does help me grow. With that being said, I don't want to waste too much of your time. I want to get to these seven player props for you today. And I do absolutely love all of them. Of course, I put my money where my mouth is. Every pick that I make, I actually bet myself. So, with that being said, let's get to it. I don't want to waste any more of your time. First pick, Justin Fields of the Jets. 2024 average, I don't have it up there. Projected fantasy score, 17. I don't have his fantasy score from last year because he didn't really play a full season. He was kind of the backup guy, but he's coming in this role as that starter, as a leader. Everyone seems to really believe in him, including the head coach, even though he had a shaky preseason. He's the best running quarterback in the NFL. Why is that important in fantasy score? Because you get a lot of points when a quarterback runs a touchdown or gets rushing yards plus his passing yards. He's going to get some passing yards because, let's be honest, I'm going to be stacking the run versus the Jets. I'm going to make Justin Fields beat me. He will not make a lot of mistakes. He's shown that in the preseason that he's checked the ball down a lot. Some people have talked about him, but it helps fantasy getting those check down passes and not really trying to make any mistakes. He will be playing with a huge chip on his shoulder as Pittsburgh did not think he was good enough to make him a full-time starter. They went with Russell Wilson instead. And here's another thing about Justin Fields. I'm not going to say everyone, but mostly everyone I've talked to and a lot of people I've watched online, people have Justin Fields as their QB1 in fantasy football. I believe it too. I think his legs and arm are some huge weapons. I think he has a high usage rate as well. Go ahead and give me the over 15 fantasy score for Justin Fields. Next person is Dak Prescott. He was injured last year, so we're not going to worry about his fantasy score. But projected fantasy score for this year is 18. Here's some reasons why I like Dak Prescott. No running game. They don't have a running back that's going to be able to get any yards. Even if they had a good running game, they're going against the Eagles. They're going to clog that run up. Really good pass catchers. You got CJ Lamb. I'm sorry. You got Lamb. You got George Pickens and you got Ferguson. And I don't know why I said CJ, CD Lamb. Just three talented receiving, passing catchers. And here's another thing: he probably will be playing from behind, which he gets something I call empty yards, empty touchdowns, which are times when you get points for the fantasy score without actually winning the game. So yes, he may be behind, but I do see him, playing from behind, getting a couple really good, easy check down passes. And when, Philadelphia decides to go into the prevent, I think Dak Prescott takes advantage of it. I like his over here. Absolutely love his over 16 fantasy score. I think that number is just a little too low for him. Next pick is going to be Brock Purdy of the 49ers. 2024 passing yards is 257. Projected passing yards is at 235. He's going against the Seahawks, and in my opinion, the Seahawks are my best defensive team coming into 2025. I have them being one of the best defensive teams we have in the league. Also, it's a low point total at 42.5. Both teams will look to run the ball a lot. Look at the Seahawks. If you watch them in the preseason, their offensive line was just mauling people, pushing people around. They have Walker, they have Charbonnet, they have some really good runners. And then on the 49ers side, they have two good running backs themselves, Christian McCaffrey coming back and Brian Robinson, who should be splitting the carries. I think they want to kind of like ease Brock Purdy into this spot. A lot's been spoken about him being a game manager in years. pass. I think he fully immerses himself into that game manager role this year. Him being a guy throwing the ball 30 times a game is not going to work for them Niners to win. I think they lean on the defense. I think they lean on the running game. Mike McDaniels as well for Seattle is going to only help their defense. He's never not had a top 10 ranked defense since he's been a defensive coordinator. So it's a lot of things going against Brock Purdy here. Give me the under 244.5 passing yards for Brock Purdy. Next guy, Joe Flacco of the Browns, averaged 220 last year, projected passing yards 225. This is a number that originally came out at 221, so I absolutely love where I'm getting it now. It's at 240, and he's 40 years old. That does play a factor. Not too many people play good after 40, especially at the quarterback position. And you're talking about Tom Brady, maybe. And here's another thing. When I heard he was named the starter, I was like, it's under season all year long. Here's the thing about him. I actually, I'm not saying the Colts are my favorite team, but I definitely cheer for the Colts uh, because of different reasons, connections, with the Colts. And I can tell you right now, he was bad. He was bad last year because I was cheering for him to be good, and he was bad. Not very good last year. And another thing about it, Colts made a decision here. They had to make a decision, and the Indianapolis Colts decided, we're going to go with Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. That right there needs to tell you all you need to know about Joe Flacco. They chose Anthony Richardson and they chose Daniel Jones. They said, Joe Flacco, get out of here. We're going to go with Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson. So, man, that right there says a lot. Bengals will control the game. I think although they are not a great running team, the Bengals, the Browns will force them to kind of work methodically down the field. They want to take away the big plays. I see two high safeties for the Browns a lot, trying to force Burrow to work methodically down the field. Another thing, conservative approach on offense. Now, I know the Bengals don't have a great running game, but I still see them trying to try to run this ball and make it a little bit more, muck the game up, make it a little bit slower, make the game go by faster, which is going to be less possessions. I absolutely love this under 240.5 passing yards for Joe Flacco. You got Tua Tagovailoa of the Dolphins, and I'm going with his under here. Injuries have played a huge role in his demise in the NFL. Coming off a huge layoff as usual, the Colts have a top 10 defense. That doesn't help as well. And then another thing, another important note about him, the Colts will run the ball and play at slow pace. So they're going to be giving Taylor 20 plus carries here. So muck the game up, make it slow. Another thing is, when you haven't played, football game in, as long as it's been since Tua, I just don't see him, coming in just setting the world on fire right away. These injuries, these concussions are wearing on him. He probably is at the point where he starts to see, things that aren't there. Things seem closer than they seem, maybe some ghosts popping out every once in a while, just because he has, dealt with those injuries, with those concussions. And the Colts, like I said, top 10 defense in my opinion. So it's not that it might actually just be someone there. And I think they're also going to be a little more conservative with him. Keep him healthy, keep him upright, don't put him in bad situations. And I think the Dolphins also run the ball quite a bit in this game. So give me his under 244 passing yards for Tua Tagovailoa. Next guy, we're going with Bijan Robinson. 2024 fantasy score 20.5. Projected fantasy score, give me 19. Young quarterback will help his usage. You got Michael Penix, his first full season starting. I think it's gonna be a lot of checkdowns for Bijan, a lot of, screenplays, a lot of short passing routes, outs and ins for him, which is going to help our fantasy score a lot because, those receptions do add up. Also, receiving yards. Went over 10 out of 12 games. So, as you see, he's on a streak. He's been on a heater. And I think this is a breakout season. I think this is a season he gets to actually tote the ball, be the main guy. I think Algier will play, but I think Robinson is going to be the main guy getting the football. I think he's going to distinctly get his carries here. I absolutely love his over 17.5 fantasy score for Bijan Robinson. Last man on the slate here is Kyler Murray. This guy's been taking a lot of abuse of late from the media, from people online and stuff. You see his average fantasy score last year, 17.5. I got him fantasy scored 19. He'll be using his legs more this year. This comes directly from Kyler Murray. Said he needs to use his legs more, be more aggressive when it comes to running the football. That also helps fantasy score. He's also, a really good down the field thrower. And he has some weapons. Marvin Harrison around him should be a lot better. Another thing is he's playing a bad Saints team. This Saints team is probably going to be, drafting first or second in the NFL draft. So I do see him, having a good game, getting a couple touchdowns, whether it's through his from his legs or from his arm. I see him really, really playing well. Another thing is the motivation has to be there. This is a situation where he needs to prove himself because people are talking about him really bad everywhere, and I know he hears it. So motivated Kyler Murray is a good Kyler Murray. I love him here over 18.5 fantasy score for Kyler Murray. Now for our best bet, we've hinted on it earlier. Dolphins and Colts. I think it's going to be a lot of running in this game. I don't think it's going to be the fireworks of the Dolphins that we've seen in the past. I think they take it very conservative with Tua. They want him to make it out the season. He's also rusty, did not play in the preseason, did not get many reps. Yes, he's been practicing, but the game is different. We all know that. And then the Colts. You got Daniel Jones at quarterback. I am never betting an over with Daniel Jones at quarterback. I think that the fact that this number is so high, I think it's just a blessing for us. Go ahead and give me this under 47 for the Dolphins versus the Colts. Now for the recap. Justin Fields over 15 fantasy score. I got two confidence level. That means three is the highest, two is I'm very confident, and then one is I'm still confident. Remember, every pick that I give you, I bet myself, so I'm not giving you any picks that I'm not confident with. Dak Prescott with a two confidence level. Brock Purdy under 244.5. Give me Joe Flacco under 240 passing yards. Give me Tua under 244 passing yards. Bijan Robinson over 17 fantasy score. And then Kyler Murray over 18.5 fantasy score. That Dak Prescott over 16 fantasy score I feel is absolutely too low. So I absolutely love his over there. The only one that's getting three for me is Purdy and Flacco. And Flacco is because that number's gotten inflated so high. So those are my two favorite picks. If you look at the confidence levels, it's Brock Purdy under and Joe Flacco under their passing yards. Help me grow. Of course, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Appreciate the comments that you guys have been leaving. Want to give you content throughout this season, really good content, and I'm thankful for all my subscribers. We've really built up my subscriber list in the last month or two, so just keep growing. Let's keep popping. Let's keep, liking. If you have a comment, leave it. I do appreciate all those. With all that being said, let's keep what you like, leave what you don't, and let's cash.